And so the idea of today is that I will stop talking. You'll be glad to hear once we do the introductions, and then Nicola will take over. And there's an opportunity to use the wee chat button, but if you want to speak, then you can use the chat and I'll log into it, or you can just raise your hand and I will bring you into the conversation. We want it to be really interactive, so I want you to contribute as much as you can so that we can get as much out of it as yourselves, so that it's beneficial for both of us. Okay, so I'm just going to pick people on my screen. So I believe the next one to me has a volunteer now. I think it's Julianne. Are you there, Julianne? She's not. Rachel?
Yes, sorry. Hi,
is that me?
That was
Williams.
Rachel, who are you with? What organisation are you with?
I work with Sustrans, so I'm volunteer coordinator for Sustrans, who we're a charity that supports and enables people to walk and cycle. So I look after the volunteers across Northern Ireland, and would be dealing with volunteers of all ages, and what was very keen to just get a bit of just get thinking about this really, and try and imagine how we haven't had our volunteers out over the last 8 weeks. Basically, we haven't asked volunteers to do anything because most of what our volunteers would be doing, we felt they could be too vulnerable or exposed to the possibility of catching the coronavirus. So, and it wasn't essential work in any shape or form. So we pulled all our volunteering activities. But obviously, our volunteers are keen to get out again, and we would be keen to see what way we can do that safely, and then specifically in this with youth. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Nicola?
Hi, I'm Nicola, the Youth Engagement Officer with Volunteer Now. So you'll hear a bit more about what I've been doing during lockdown with young people, but I work with young people to encourage them to get involved in volunteering, looking at the benefits, maybe some of the myths around volunteering, maybe why some people don't get involved, and also youth social action, encouraging young people to encourage people to take ownership of their own learning, to explore some of the topics that they're interested in, and then raise awareness of a topic that they are interested in.
Okay, thank you. Mandy?
Hello, I'm Mandy, and I'm new here.
Okay, that's great. Thank you, Mandy. Maura? Moira? I can't mute. Sorry, Rosie Tegerty?
Yes, I'm getting no car.
Rosie, you there? Hard to see. And what about Bruno Keane?
Hi, everyone. Hi, I work for Network Personnel. Our program's called Up for Work, and we work with 16 to 24-year-olds in the Mid-Ulster area, basically getting them into higher education or into employment, and obviously upskilling their CVs to help them into those courses or jobs that they may want to get into. So.
Thank you, Bruna. What about Rosie? Are you with me now?
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes, can hear you now.
Hi, I'm with Southern Area Hospice. We have a number of young people volunteering with us in various different roles. In-house here in hospice in our cafe, and also on our wards, but also externally in our shops and in our fundraising. So at the minute, all our volunteers are stood down, and it's just, again, like everybody else here today, just trying to see how on earth we're going to start to resume, and particularly with the young people, how to sort of slowly reintegrate back into the organisation.
Maureen Larkin. You're muted, Maureen. You're muted, Maureen. We can't hear you.
So hang on. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, I.
All right. Okay, so I work for the Education Authority Northern Ireland, and I am based in the Newry, Mourne and Down area. As you can see in the background, there is my wonderful assistant who I am. I was listening to your conversation earlier on about homeschooling, and I can certainly feel your pain. I'd say I work directly with young volunteers, and we've had a sort of a stay connected program. So we've been looking at all of the ways that we can maintain our volunteering in an online capacity, but with varying degrees of success. But I'm on this morning to see how we can look at sort of strategies going forward.
Ciara Kersey from British Gymnastics.
Hi, yeah, I'm Ciara. I'm volunteer officer for British Gymnastics. So I lead on all volunteering, from club volunteering to event volunteering, and also on our Young Leaders Development Programme. So like many of you, I work primarily with young leaders aged 11 to 17. And yeah, we've obviously had the same struggles. Everything for us has been cancelled and all our clubs are closed. So it's really just for us recently has been trying to keep all of our young leaders and all of our volunteers engaged virtually, and obviously experiencing all the same difficulties and challenges that everyone seems to be at the minute.
And Anne Williamson.
Hi, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I work for Doherty School. I'm a teacher there, and I've just been appointed head of sixth form. So I'm really kind of excited to get the kids into volunteering. But again, with the current kind of climate, not too sure how to navigate through that. So it's 16 to 18-year-olds, and it would really be a time during the week that they could go out into community and hopefully, you know, to do something maybe in care homes or something. But again, just interested to hear some suggestions maybe on how I would move that forward.
A name for the lady beside Anne in a lovely red top. Yes, that's you. Yes, that's you. Yes, sorry.
Hi, my name's Natalie. I work for Newry Street Unite. It's a community centre in Kilkeel. We run services from cradle to grave, really. We have touch groups and exercise activities. We've also got a men's shed, and all run by volunteers. We have a committee of volunteers and also volunteers who just help run the kitchen and run the activities for us. We've only really been continuing to run our Facebook page, so we've tried to make it, the Facebook activities mirror what we would have been doing on the different days in the centre, but that's really just me doing that. I've not got any volunteers. The only thing our volunteers are still doing is we got a delivery of nearly 400 trees from the Woodland Trust, so we've had to try and get them in the ground so they survive. I'd actually love to get, because we don't have a lot of young volunteers, so I'd quite like to use this opportunity to maybe build on our younger volunteer base. So that's what I'd like to get out of the meeting today.
Okay, thank you. Patricia?
Thanks, Jane. My name is Patricia McGuinness, and I work for Belfast Metropolitan College. I would organise an annual volunteering fair whereby we would invite in organisations to promote volunteering opportunities and encourage our students to get involved. It's a physical fair, so obviously that's not going to happen this year. It usually happens around the end of September. And I suppose what I'm looking for today is ideas on how we could still promote the volunteering opportunities without having people actually coming into the building. So I'm just looking for ideas from people out there.
Siobhan Kearney.
Hi there. Yeah, Siobhan Kearney here, Head of Careers in St Paul's High School in Bestbrook. I'm just here along with my colleague Catherine Hughes, who's Head of Year 13, to get some more ideas just for how we can support our students with, you know, virtual opportunities, or whatever else is available out there, because at the moment the practical opportunities aren't there for volunteering within the Southern Health Trust, etc., etc. So it's really just to get a little bit of inspiration for the students and try and advise them then in August when they come back to school.
And our next gentleman just has a wee user name in the blue shirt.
Campbell Hamilton, with Hope for Life. Is it me?
Yes,
Right.
yes, go ahead, yeah. Campbell. Yeah.
We deliver early intervention mental health programs into schools based on superhero themed comics, telling true stories of young people in Northern Ireland who have been through adverse experiences. So clearly we're not getting to schools at the minute, but we've pivoted a program online. We're creating a comic at the moment with the involvement of the kids sharing their stories, telling us how they've been getting through lockdown, how they're feeling, giving opportunities to articulate and talk with the parents and the teachers about that. So we've stood down our regular volunteers, but we've had approaches from a number of individuals who are looking at what it would look like to volunteer with us at the minute or in the future.
Can I go to the gentleman there in the dark blue or teal shirt? Yes. All right. You need to unmute, please. Yes, yes, please. Yes. You just need to unmute. Yeah, that's it. Great, thank you.
Gotcha. Right, okay. Hi, my name is Austin Hearn. I'm on the Carrickfergus Community Forum. I'm a bit of an interloper here today. I was asked by one of our member groups, a woman called Samantha Brown, who runs a project called the JETS, which stands for Juvenile Engagement Team here in Carrickfergus. And she works, I think, with the Education Board guy called Lee Whitley, Education Authority. But to just give my tuppence worth, because I'm going to have to Zoom off shortly, speaking of Zoom, to a meeting with the Health Board. I mainly work for a group myself called Carrickfergus Community Cultivators, which is a volunteer rather than a volunteer organisation. In our MNRs, we have a clause saying we will not hire full-time staff if possible. We want to be run only by volunteers, because I think sometimes a lot of people working for voluntary organisations do great work, but it can be distracting, obviously, personal issues, getting their wages and things. Anyhow, the two things I'd like to contribute today, basically, is I'm also involved through sort of in an earlier life, the trade union movement. And I know there's a number of groups. There's a group, the NIPSA Retired Members Branch, are trying to help a bunch of people to get a thing off the ground called Volunteer Voice, which basically is a volunteer trade union. But obviously it's not going to be fighting for wages. It will be looking at terms and conditions. So if anybody wants to know, I think the convener of it's a woman called Paula, I can't remember her second name, but anyway, she was a volunteer of the year at one stage last year. So those are the wee bits and bobs. I just like that at the meeting, and I'm sorry I've been kind of parachuted in and getting pulled out. I'd like to actually stay in touch. Obviously, I as I say, I'm mainly involved with community cultivation, which is to do with community development as much as using growing opportunities to help develop communities in terms of allotments and guerrilla gardening and things like that. But it's mostly older people, so I'm kind of a bit of an elderly representative at this point in time.
No,
but you can keep me involved, please, with the well, Samantha. I'll feed into the email her proper contact details for the JETS, but I would like to keep involved from just my main interest in volunteering. I'm sorry for the big long winded.
No, you're okay. Thank you very much, Austin. Thank you. Stephen?
Hey everyone, my name's Stephen Doherty. I coordinate volunteering in Lumen Christi College up in Derry. we've been involved with Volunteer now for a long time, and we've had a great partnership with them. And like the rest of you, and particularly those in schools, we're faced with the challenges now of how we provide volunteering opportunities when we come back in September. For ourselves, for the last 15 years or so, we have timetabled our Thursday afternoon for year 13s to go out into the community, and clearly that won't be possible next year. But what I would hope to get from this meeting, and certainly the subsequent meetings, would be some ideas for remote volunteering opportunities for our students. I met with Nicola and Jamie a couple of weeks ago to discuss the Be Collective platform. So I'm keen that maybe something like that, or indeed that, would provide us with the tools that we need to manage volunteering and monitor it going forward. So that's where we're at the moment, just like the rest of you.
Thank you, Stephen. Peggy seems to have left us. We'll move on to Karen Poffin.
Hi, yeah, I'm from Ulster University Students' Union. So kind of similar to how the high schools are, we have a volunteer programme for our students, and at the minute we've quite a lot of them who are volunteering during COVID, so they're out in the communities and things like that. Now that Ulster has announced that semester 1 will definitely be online, it's really just then to see how we can move our volunteer project to work with that, looking at getting them out into the community to help. So that's kind of why I'm here.
Excellent, thank you, Karen. Therese.
Hi, I work for Nerrymore and I'm down District Council as their Ringagullion A1B officer. So we do a lot of heritage and environmental projects. So one of our projects would be a youth rangers programme that we run in the summer for 2 weeks, and it involves a lot of like outdoor environmental learning. So I suppose it's looking at whether we move it to later on in the year, or if we can't do it, like how could we do it online. So just looking for ideas probably, or how to manage it safely.
Peggy, you're back again. Peggy, do you want to?
Yeah, sorry, I had to nip away and see about somebody knocking on my door there. But I'm Peggy. I'm here on behalf of Befriending Networks, and we support befriending projects throughout the UK. So I'm just here to see what everyone's up to, really, what things are on people's minds. So then I can take it back to my team and we can think about if there's any resources or things we can produce to help support what you're doing, really. Our Children and Young People's Officer doesn't work today, so I'm really sort of here on behalf of him. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to the discussion. Thanks.
Catherine Hughes.
Hi, I'm Catherine Hughes. I'm head of Year 13 in St Paul's High School in Bestbrook, and I work along with Siobhan Kearney, who has previously spoken, and we're very engaged in careers in our school. And my year group have missed out on work experience opportunities, and this is very important for UCAS applications in 3rd level. You know, so I suppose I'm like everybody else here. I'm on here today to see what everybody else is doing, and I suppose what I can take back to my school and my students, and for it all to be carried out in a safe manner. So thank you for having us all online here today.
You're very welcome. Thank you, Catherine. Anne?
Hiya, I'm delighted to be on. Anne Love, Volunteer Manager, Western Trust, which covers from McGilligan to Balik, which is the northwest of the province. We have a very healthy volunteering programme, and the reason I'm here today is I'm delighted that the education zone, I'm delighted to see Stephen Doherty, friendly to talk to you, and I'm delighted to hear Dalriada, different people on talk on UU, etc., because we need to now look. The truth is that the majority of our volunteers aged 16 to 22 are students, and they come for very particular reasons, and that is probably the needed for UCAS applications, personal statements, job applications, or whatever. So we're going to have to look at a new way of working. We don't know at the minute. All volunteering is stood down, it's postponed due to the precautionary measures for COVID. But it's about how do we get that re-engaged again, and how do we get up, and how do we do things differently. Really, really keen to, particularly, we realise now that if students aren't getting into volunteer and to get work experience in particular career pathways, we need to look about how do we give them information, valuable, beneficial information to help them make choices. So it's about how do we connect with education now to do things slightly differently. We'll have to be virtual for a while, but what platforms do we need to introduce? Is it web airs? What do we do? I'm very keen to talk to you as well, because they're sitting on our doorstep, and Queen's will be coming to Derry, or the new university's coming to Derry as well. So there's a whole lot of stuff happening there. Just to say, Western Trust open for business. If you have ideas of how we can work with you, absolutely come through to us, because we're really keen to start developing new ways of working.
Okay, great, thank you. And Mike? Mike Baxter, Mike, are you there?
So
yep.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm out on the walk, my little one. Yeah, I work for the Red Cross, so we work across the UK helping people in crisis at this time. So yeah, again, we're just looking at how we engage young people in volunteering. So I mean, there are some virtual programs the Red Cross are involved with, like Missing Maps, where you can volunteer remotely to map parts of the world that have been affected by COVID for people to help respond. So yeah, again, just trying to think of different ways of engaging people at this time.
Okay, great. Do you mind me asking where you're at? That sounds really intriguing.
I'm actually at a place called Fleet Pond. I actually live in England, down in Hampshire, right, but okay. I cover the whole of the UK, including Northern Ireland. So yeah.
Okay. Good. And last but not least, Morag.
Hi, I'm volunteer coordinator with Cancer Focus Northern Ireland, and we normally involve youth and younger volunteers in our fundraising, our charity shops, outdoor events, information stands, things like that. And I think we obviously realise those things aren't going to go ahead as they used to. At the moment, all of our volunteers are stood down. We don't have anybody out there fundraising other than online at the moment. So really, we know it's all going to be totally different when we get back, and I'm in the same position as all of you. I'm looking for ways that we can create roles for volunteers, young volunteers, that are going to be satisfying, that are going to allow them to support us, but it'll have to be, the majority of the roles will have to be online, I would imagine, from now on, in terms of the numbers that are going to get involved, because I think, from what I understand, our fundraising activities, the numbers within those in terms of bringing people together are going to be minimized. So I'm looking for ways to involve younger volunteers that they're going to find satisfying, but that we can manage online for them. And it's really just any ideas, any advice on things that we need to be thinking about, precautionary measures we need to be thinking about, types of assessments we need to be doing in terms of online. So I'm looking along those lines at the minute, and any information or advice that I get from today would be really welcome.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I'm going to hand you over to Nicola now. For Nicola to take you through some of what we've been doing as an organisation, just to share that.
Hi, yeah. So we have, like yourselves, are in the same boat in terms of having to adapt everything and how we work. So we have two things that we are launching today, and we want to introduce to you, and hopefully will be some form of support in terms of moving forward with volunteering opportunities, are the Jump on Board Junior Toolkit and the Social Action Toolkit. So I'm hoping someone will be able to, one of my colleagues will be able to share their screen. Mine isn't working, but if not, we'll work at either sending them to you or getting them on the website. So the Jump on Board Toolkit is a toolkit for youth forums or youth committees, and that is essentially the good practice in terms of how to run a youth forum, and maybe that is a way for you to involve young people to make decisions in your organisation. to consult them and say, we understand that we aren't going to be able to run opportunities the way that we want to, or the way that we used to run them. So we would like your input in terms of how you would be able to engage with us and then go through that. So the Jump on Board toolkit will allow you to create that youth forum if you don't have one already, or if you do have one, it will allow you to to run through some of the good practice things, some of the things to include when the young people are involved. And a youth forum really gives young people a voice. It allows them to see what they can be involved in and how they can make an impact in your organisation. So if they are already involved with themselves, they will know the organisation, they will be able to inform on different decisions and provide that youth perspective. The other toolkit is a social action toolkit, and that is a toolkit that we have put together so that you are able to run social action projects within your own groups. This is something that we already do, so if you want to link in with us in terms of running a social action project, or you would like to learn more about how to get involved, do just contact me. My email address is nicola.reid@volunteernow.co.uk if you don't have it, or it should be up on our website somewhere if you need to find it there. But the social action toolkit allows you to run through a specific amount of sessions. So this is something that we already do, and it's something that is completely youth-led. So again, it is that youth voice. It is allowing young people to see the difference that they can make and the impact that they can have, and especially for those who are missing out on work experience and volunteering opportunities, who aren't sure what skills they are able to develop to help them in employment. Social action is a way for them to do that, for them to make a difference within their community, within the community, within whatever topic they can make that difference. So social action runs through approximately 8 weeks, and some of it is done outside of the section, depending on how big the project is, and some of it is done, or the most of it then is done within the project. So the 8 sessions, they start off with your general introductions to social action and volunteering. They have things that you are able to say, okay, what are the issues that young people face? What are some of the things that you want to raise awareness of? Or if they're already involved in your organisation, it might be looking at how can we raise awareness of the work that we do, or different things like that. But the main thing is that it's youth-led, so that they will be able to have a massive impact on your organisation, but also within the community. And it runs through a list of things to do within each session. So when you have the different topics and you can have a great discussion around that, you can then choose which, the young people will then choose which topic to host or to run with, and then they will you can invite organisations in virtually if that may be, and you can say, you know, our young people want to raise awareness of mental health or the environment or whatever it might be, and then you can link in with different organisations who are able to do that, and then the young people can plan the project. So social action is something that I am still continuing to do, even though it is online, and it I'll tell you a little bit about that later, but it is work very well, and it allows the young people to develop those skills that they are maybe missing out on. So once they choose that project, then they can move forward, they can plan for it, they can implement it, and then at the end, like everything in youth work, it's important to evaluate and celebrate what they have done. So that can also be done, but obviously in a more creative way now that everything is online. So that is a brief introduction to the two toolkits that we're launching today. So please, they will go on our they will go up on our website soon. So please do keep up. I'll probably send all of our partners, and I'll get your contacts from Julianne and send you the links if they're up on the website then for the 2 toolkits. So hopefully they will be able to be a helpful resource for you during this time, especially when you're thinking of how you can engage in young people and engage with young people. I think social action is going to be one of the beneficial ones, because it is completely youth-led. But to talk about what we have been doing, we have been working with young people that we were previously working with. So Before lockdown happened, I had been running a social action project with a group of girls who had decided before lockdown that they wanted to raise awareness of sexism, and then we were exploring how that was going to be done. But before lockdown, they already had chosen that their project was going to be Instagram based, and it was going to be that they would gather stories to raise awareness and bring light to some of the experiences that different girls and women have been throughout the world. And then lockdown happened, and we had to think very quick on our feet on how we would engage with the young people. And what I want to emphasise, I suppose, is working with the young people on what they are comfortable with and what way it fits them. So whilst it might be easy for me to turn around and say, okay, everyone, cameras on, Zoom, let's go, for them, they mightn't want to show you the living room, or they might not be comfortable with that. So it's about adapting how you do that. So for our group, we ended up, because it was on Instagram, we had an Instagram chat, which we have an EBS volunteer, and she was on it as well. And then we had the young people, and they were happy enough to meet once, twice a week to plan that project. So that is one of the things that we're doing. The Girls decided to call it the Quiet Voice Project and put it out to all organisations, to activists, to young people, to schools, to say, this is the project that we're doing. Please share some experiences, and we will put them up on the Instagram page. And you can go on to the Quiet Voice Project and see some of the stories that are being shared there. And it is really allowed them to have real structure. And when it comes to their week, they say that they're still getting plenty of work sent through to them from school to do. But they say this is something that allows them to not focus on what's currently going on in terms of exams have been cancelled and they're not sure what school's going to look like in September, but they're able to raise awareness of a topic that they are interested in and that they are passionate about. So that has been one of the biggest focuses for me so far during lockdown and during the coronavirus period. One of the other things that we had before lockdown and we have brought in just this week actually was our youth forum, which is why those two toolkits have come about, because there's something that we are doing and we want to be able to share good practice on how to do those as well. And I just want to share a couple of things from the young people that they say they are currently involved in. So in the youth forum, when I had asked them what volunteering, if any, they had been involved in, just to see what they were doing, two of them had said that they were doing online campaigns, and that they were linking in with different organisations, different charities, to be able to promote different campaigns. They were being sent surveys to complete, and then they would promote that with their friends or with their school, and to encourage them to get involved. And so they've been doing a lot of that. I've chatted with quite a few young people who are doing fundraising, but not in a formal way, that they see an opportunity for fundraising and then they join that. They're using their own initiative, and I think that's one thing that I've seen come out of this, is that young people aren't necessarily going straight to organisations, but they're just saying, I want to make a difference, I wonder how I can do that. And one of the girls that we had a great story from was, she is a great artist and she wanted to raise some fundraising, so the money that she sells her art pieces for, she is donating to charities. Some people have come up, I don't know if you've seen, I think it's Tier Fund, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but Tier Fund have their climbing mountains trek, but you're doing it on your stairs. So one of my friends is actually doing this, and he is climbing his stairs every day to the amount of steps that they would typically do on a bigger climbing a mountain, and then raising money for that. And I think young people, that is an easier one for young people to get involved in, because they see the impact and they see where the money is going to. But actually, one of the members of the youth forum was telling me something about how they were volunteering in their school at the minute. And what they were doing was they were a volunteer mentor, and they were checking in with any pupils that were struggling. But this was an initiative that they set up themselves, and brought it to their school and said, look, this is something that I want to do. Mental health is obviously something that is having a massive impact during lockdown and will continue on afterwards. and I want to be able to make some kind of difference. So it doesn't have to be that they're struggling with their schoolwork or with maths or English, but just that they're struggling in general, and that they know that there's somebody that they can talk to about just whatever is going on. And then the school said, yes, that's great, and they have started that initiative as well. One thing I do want to emphasise, and this maybe sounds a little bit controversial, but I think because of the virus, we see that young people don't have as many opportunities to get involved in volunteering. But before lockdown, my experience was that young people were telling me there weren't enough opportunities anyway. I just think the virus has highlighted all of that, and it has shown young people that yes, there are different ways of working, but already opportunities weren't there in the first place. But hopefully that's something that can, or we could see a change coming from that. So that is just a brief overview of what we have been doing. We also are working, and this is where maybe...
Can I just stop you a minute? Sorry, before you go into something else there. Rachel was asking about the age range of those that are doing the buddying or those that are being supported. Do you have any idea of what?
Through the school, the mentoring scheme?
Yeah, that young volunteer that you were saying who's doing that off her own bat, but not formally through school.
14.
14. Well, so she's 14, phoning somebody who's younger?
Pardon?
Is she contacting somebody that's younger?
I think it's in their year group.
In their year group.
As far as my understanding is, they haven't expanded it further than that. But I think that's something that, you know.
Yeah, it has been something that we've been talking about in terms of the risk assessment. So I'm sure some of the school teachers around there will, around the virtual room, will be thinking about the risk assessment and parental support and agreement for that. And it has been something that we've been looking at in terms of whether the new system, whether that be collective system that Nicola will mention, whether it can help in relation to that, because if they are under a certain age and they do need parental permission to engage in volunteering. But also in terms of whether the peer mentoring training that we do can be maybe brought online, so that there is some kind of training there for peer mentors. But it is something that we've been looking at in terms of how we manage and engage young people to be able to do those roles. Sorry, Nick.
So that was my question. It was to do with how are those pupils being supported in that support they're offering, because they're offering support for other people's mental health, but actually they could be taking on issues themselves. So yes, they need some guidance as to how to support that. So thank you for answering that question. Jane, wasn't it? Anyway, cheers, Nicola.
No problem. Yes, what I will say is this was, it was a loose conversation around what the young person has been involved in. So we didn't go into the ins and outs of how teachers are supporting this certain person who's doing mentoring and things. But it would be really interesting to see just what has been put in place for the young person. But knowing the school and knowing the pupil as well, I know that, or I hope that things have been put in place for them. But yes, the other thing that I was going to mention, and quite a few of you had mentioned ways of recruiting young people to volunteer, but you weren't sure how to do that anymore because there weren't going to be careers fairs. The way they happen normally is our Be Collective volunteer management portal. It allows you to record any volunteering opportunities online. It allows you to tell the young people, or just anyone in general, what they will be involved in. It allows you to put down a specific age range. It allows you to say this is how often it's going to happen. So when you put your opportunity online, your organisation will be registered on the system. And then if any young people want to get recognition for their volunteering hours, this is something that we are looking at the minute in terms of Millennium Volunteers as well, but that's all in sort of the early stages. But yes, Be Collective might be one way for you to record the opportunities that you want to advertise for and then recruit young people through that way. So if you want to learn more about how to do that, again, please do get in contact with me and I will try to support you through that. But I don't know, Jane, if you have anything to add, but that's my sort of.
Does anybody have any questions, any thoughts? There was a lot of conversations there at the beginning whenever you were introducing yourselves about that engagement and how we engage young people. Does anybody have any thoughts in terms of their own organisations and how we could do that?
I think quite a few organisations do have virtual opportunities already there. And I know if you look at the Duke of Edinburgh's award website and go to DV with a difference, they've got a lot of opportunities on different websites that people can do virtually. So if you've got people who want to do something at this point, there's quite a lot. Missing Maps, Zooniverse, which are all things people can practically do to help research and other things. We're going to start piloting doing some volunteering fairs via Zoom. So they're interested. We'll have a volunteer talking about the role and what they do, opportunity for questions and answers. So we are looking at how we can, as particularly as we can get back to some of the roles, how we do that in a safe way going forward, but also engaging it initially so they can sort of find out a bit more about the role and whether it's right for them.
I know some organisations have done, young people have got involved in, Nicola mentioned the one about the fundraising, the young artist doing or things, but also social action. But others have done, have been sending in stories or doing virtual games within nursing homes. They've been doing pictures and sending them into nursing homes and hospitals. Hospitals haven't been accepting pictures just because of the virus, although it's not meant to stay on paper, but I'm not sure about that. But certainly nursing homes have been accepting them, but also doing some young people, we've seen pictures of them doing the activities in the street. So they've been leading the dance classes, or they've been doing them with maybe the younger people in their own wee housing areas or cul-de-sacs or wherever. So they've been doing different games and activities, or doing up packs and sending them, putting them outside the houses for people just to try and keep them entertained. So there's been different ways that young people have been making a real difference. And I don't know whether, I'm looking for Maureen, whether Maureen has any examples from young people that have been engaging. And I think, you know, we're also involved in the I Will campaign, and as Mike says there are online activities that have been going on, particularly within the environmental field, but also through Scouts and other organisations like that have that kind of outdoorsy focus that have been able to do those things. But they have also been talking about branding now, mostly with the NHS England, but about young people making a difference by actually staying at home and by doing as they're told, and that has been their contribution at the moment, because they have been more or less following the regulations up until now. So it's just been interesting in terms of how we communicate with young people, in terms of the positive impact that they're having at this time, but also encouraging them to get involved, to make a difference in positive ways as well that are maybe different. But I think, you know, what we've been hearing through Nicola's Quiet Voices project is they've been coming to us with ideas rather than us saying, what about, you know, because before it had been, you know, meeting in a certain place and coming together in Lisburn and then taking that online, but it was them that's been quite creative in their thoughts. Maureen, have you any thoughts there?
Jane, sorry for interrupting, but just before you go on any further, it's Anne Love again. Sorry, I'm going to have to jump off, or I have to be up at Altnagelvin for a meeting at 12:30. So just to say that if anybody in the Western area has ideas and wants to link with me, please do so. While we've been chatting there, I've been speaking to Steve and Karen on messages. While I've been in contact with both of them, but if there are other people there, we're really keen to start and see how we can start engaging young people again and being meaningful and beneficial to them. So please come through to me. So sorry for interrupting, and I'm just going to jump off now, okay?
No,
bye, everybody. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Well, as
sorry, Jane, I wonder, could I ask Nicola something? Hello, Jane? Yeah?
Yes, go ahead, Stephen.
Nicola, just one of the big challenges at the moment for schools, certainly at this time now, is looking at what needs to be timetabled come September, what can be timetabled come September. And I do believe, and I think I'll probably speak on behalf of the educational community when I say this, that if there are projects, and am I right in saying that the social action project might be one of those, that can actually be delivered remotely by a facilitator? Am I right in saying that it's an 8-week delivery, and then the students go off and embark on their own social action projects after that? Is that correct?
So yes, no. So it's roughly an 8-week program now. If the project, usually before this, I would say if the project was a lot bigger and needed a lot more time to plan, I would say we can extend it to a maximum of 12 weeks. But now that everything's online, we have found that it has gone a lot quicker. Decisions have been made quicker, and it has worked well that way. But the project itself, in terms of what they choose and what they do, is usually done within that 8 weeks. Now it can continue on afterwards, but it usually has that launch and that beginning. So, for example, the Quiet Voice project, the one that I'm working with at the minute, they have, I'm meeting with them tomorrow to kind of do like an evaluation of the overall program. And I don't want to just leave it at like evaluation, celebration, goodbye, but to be a support when it, when they need it. So they have got now, I think, 30 or 40 responses in terms of stories to share up on Instagram. And then they are constantly looking for more. But there's only so much I can do in terms of supporting that project and how to get stories. We've been meeting for roughly an hour and a half, and that works really, really well when it's okay. What do you want the project to be called, and what about the logo design, and how do we get stories? But once they have got, they have the page set up, they have the logo ready and up as well. They have stories in, and they're posting constantly. So at the minute is just them building their audience. So there is that independence for the young people to be able to say, we've got to a certain point now where we are able to sustain this and to continue it on. So I would say the majority of the work is done within the 8 weeks, but depending on the project can continue on beyond that.
Thank you.
Maureen?
I'm about to die.
God, she has paused. Oh dear. You still there? No? No, just noticed that John has snuck into our meeting there, John from Nikki. John, have you any thoughts in terms of how you've been engaging with young people?
Yeah, well, we have been engaging through Zoom primarily. We have been doing a lot with the CCA, the examining body, around, first of all, around frequently asked questions. We did a lot of consultation with the young people about what their questions would be, and then they were sent to SIA, and then they developed their frequently asked questions from that. Then what happened was we arranged a meeting then on Zoom with 20 of the youth panel and Justin Edwards and the chief executive and 2 of his officials, so the young people could put direct things about their concerns and worries and all that to him. So then they developed podcasts from that with Wendy Austin, and then 2 weeks ago they released their consultation on the appeals process, which had a 2-week turnaround. So again, we had a meeting with the youth panel around that and tried to feed into that, because there were certain elements that they weren't happy with of how the appeals process would be run. So, but we find it's more and more difficult. The first few weeks of lockdown, they were quite keen to come on social media, but it has to really interest them now, and a subject that they really want to get their teeth into in order for them to engage. Because we would have about 80 young people on the youth panel, and I say only 28 came onto that one with Justin Edwards. We have another one next week on Instagram and how we can be more effective on getting our messages out there. And as you've maybe seen, Kula has been very much on the BBC and with Nolan and stuff all around exams and education and all that. So the youth panel have been feeding all that into Kula. In fact, Kula's having a meeting, the commissioner's having a meeting with them next Wednesday afternoon around returning to school and what's that going to look like, what should that look like, what are their concerns. So she's engaging directly with them next Wednesday, and I've just sent that out for a 2 o'clock meeting with them yesterday. So I'm getting replies back for that. So we're trying to engage them, but it's very, very difficult unless it's something that they're really interested in. We find of a lot of schoolwork without any support. A lot of it seems to be lots of work to be done, but no teaching about how to do it. So we've got a lot of young people a wee bit concerned about that, you know. So that's what we have been trying to do, and we've been involved in the Child Rights Impact Assessment, which is, it was called ENYA, which is European Network of Youth Advisors, which we take part in every year. So we've been have a group of young people involved in that, which are continuing, and that will then go to probably international to the other partner countries. Don't think a conference will probably happen this year. It would have been the end of June. You know, last year it was Brussels, the year before it was Barcelona, this year it was supposed to be Sweden. So that will not be happening, but I'm waiting to see what will happen online with that. But they're doing the work for that anyway. There's a small group, about 8 of them involved in that. So it's very, very difficult to keep them engaged, keep information going. But
that's great. Thank you.
Trying to get things that will interest them.
Just conscious of our time, because we said that we would be an hour here today, so we've got a couple of minutes left, and I know you've got other things that you need to do. And Rachel has kindly shared that the John Muir Award is also still running, and it's quite similar to the Duke of Edinburgh Award, with support available there, and it's for environmental volunteering too. But they may have ideas in terms of other initiatives that young people can get involved in. And I was interested in Natalie's 400 trees that they had got, and how that will be a great family volunteering opportunity in normal circumstances. But how you do that under these circumstances is a bit more challenging, but I'm sure they will all get done, Natalie.
Well, they have all been done. We did it as a family. We did each group, so we did the toddlers were helping and with mums and dads, and then we have an older group and a chest, heart and stroke group that helped as well. But unfortunately, we still had about 200 trees left at lockdown, so we've just had 3 of our poor volunteers who live right next to the centre who have just been digging and planting, just trying to get them in the ground so they survive. But I tell you, the trees that we got free from the Woodland Trust, and it was amazing. Everybody loved the trees. Everybody loved the trees. So I think if doing like environmental, and we got some funding. I can't remember where the funding was from. I think it was a piece. No, it was from the council, but the group could choose an art project. So we got an artist in, and they chose global warming as their theme. So we did global warming, the bushfires in Australia, and they made this magnificent piece that's now on our wall. And that was led solely by our youth group. So we definitely have 2 minutes, baby. We definitely have young people who would volunteer. So it's just recruiting them now to get them to, like you say, something that they're interested in, something that they can feel that's rewarded, and it's not just schoolworky.
Thanks very much. Just to sum up, really, I'm not sure whether we've answered all of your questions today. I had a feeling at the beginning when we were going around that we've some ideas in terms of how we can promote volunteering opportunities. So that virtual volunteer fairs is an opportunity, is a thought there that we can certainly explore to see how we do that, and whether we use what kind of a platform that we use. We do have our new volunteer management platform, which promotes volunteering opportunities as well too, that you can create your own group and you can promote your opportunities both to a closed group, so you can put all your students on there, you can put all your volunteers on there, or you can manage it how you wish. And certainly Nicola will and the team will be able to support you to do that. We are hoping that our Millennium Volunteers programme goes onto that platform, and that will become an online process. We're working with the developers at the moment just to make sure the timeframes and to make sure that we can do that as effectively as possible. In terms of recruitment, we do have about 4,000 people who signed up during the the COVID crisis to volunteer. We're not sure how many of them are young people, but they are certainly there. So if you are looking for more volunteers, they are there and willing to give their time and their commitment, and they are all on our system. But in terms of how we engage, you know, Nicola's got a few ideas there in terms of how social action has worked, and how we can support you in relation to that. And certainly the toolkits will go up onto the website, and we will share those links with you on that. And Julianne has recorded the session, so we can send that out in a link as well too. Maureen, I just realised you're back. Do you want to say a few words in terms of the Education Authority just before we finish up?
Well, I have just exemplified some of the problems that we will have as an online platform. I had to run out of battery at the last minute. What we would have seen over the last number of weeks is that we are having sort of differing successes in relation to how we're managing in an online process. And what we have learned, if nothing else comes out of this, is that young people are far more inventive and creative than we will ever be. So I think that this whole point of addressing it through youth forums is taking the ideas from the young people, because we are like dinosaurs in relation to how we're going to move forward. And a lot of the time, especially in the Education Authority, we find that we are tripping over the likes of how we can't go forward unless we have a policy to tell us what we can do. Whereas young people don't see policy. We see policy first, and we see safeguards and how we can do this in the safest manner. But young people don't see it in that way. So I would say that your best bet is to try and reach out and see how young people can invent and create. Yeah, and that's what we have done. And like, I mean, a lot of our youth forums have gone online, and they're doing quizzes, they're doing Tuesday takeover, you know, they're being really, really creative as to how that they move forward, you know. But as I say, our modus operandus would have been group work, and how that goes forward, we're really sort of in the initial stages of how we look at moving that forward, because I would have been very much responsible for training up the volunteers, and then the volunteers would have gone into a placement setting. So all of those placement settings will very much change. So we're on a learning curve.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Maureen. Yes, you are all in the mailing list. There's just a wee query in there about mailing lists, and we will mail information out. And I think Maureen's got a very good point there in terms of asking the young people actually how they want to engage as volunteers, and what types of opportunities that they would like to get involved in would be useful as well too. Are people happy enough with today's session? You can certainly feedback through either myself or Nicola, whenever we send them out, in terms of any other suggestions or any other ways in which we can engage with you better in terms of this youth volunteering. But does anybody have any comments they'd like to make before we finish up? No? Oh, quiet. Yes, thank you, Natalie. Yes, thank you very much. There's a few wee trails there in the comment section there too. So if you wish, we'll see what the comments come back in relation to, but if you want to do this again, we'd be very happy to facilitate it. I think for me it's been really interesting just hearing some of them, seeing some of the comments that have been coming through, but we'd be quite interested, and because we really want young people to be engaged and really want good quality volunteering opportunities for them. So we're happy to do what we can in terms of supporting you to do that. But yes, if there's nothing else, we're happy to go. And we'll send you out the recording, and we'll send you out the links to the two wee publications that we've done that Nicola has worked on. And we'll certainly send you out information on terms of Be Collective and where we're at in terms of the Millennium Volunteers Programme as well too. Okay, thank you very much, folks. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of the sun. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.